Thank you for joining us today. Sue Wiand is going to present us with a interesting topic, Color Me Happy. Sue.
Oh, I'm up. Well, hello everybody, good afternoon. I'll try not to fog my glasses up too much. That's always a problem with these. Now, as I said, there's a lot of information here, so some of it I'm going to try and just give you a good, well-rounded covering of the subject matter to fall in line with the topic of the presentation. And you can see how when the last time was that we did this in 2019 before COVID hit. Okay, now, and if you have any questions when we're going through the information, just, give a high sign. Does anyone have the answer to this statement? Can everybody read it?
Would you read it, please?
Well,
The
It
green
says,
is too light.
yeah,
it says
light.
why they are colors, lights, vibrational energies, why they are so important to your overall health and wellness. So that's basically what we're gonna cover here today. So hopefully by the end of this session, you'll have a better understanding.
Do you think, Sandy, do you think if the light was out, would it be better?
Oh yeah, that's an idea.
Yeah, you probably,
Let's try it.
go,
Oh, that's better.
Can you see, Sue?
Are you okay?
I'll give it a whirl. I have to apologize. Tomorrow I go get a procedure done on my eyes, and hopefully it will correct the problems I've been having. But let's see if we can get through this.
Now guess what it is.
Okay. So what are we talking about? And what we're talking about is colors of everything around us: lights, decorations, sunlight, full spectrum lights, vibrational energies, music, and sound waves. Can anyone come up with any other vibrational energies that you can think of that you're familiar with? I'll give you some examples then. Cell phones, satellite TV, power lines, wireless everything means more EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies or fields, is that what it stands for? And these are all vibrational energies. Unfortunately, not all of them are beneficial to us. Okay, and there are energy blockers that you can purchase. Years ago, you could get a blocker to put on your computer to help with it. Now you wear the blue blocker glasses when you're working with your computers and whatnot. So these are things that you have to think about. Now, colors are around us with everything that we do, and that includes the clothes we wear, the foods we eat, color of the rooms in our office, apartment, or house, and the color of car we drive. So it affects us in everything that we do, from the moment you get up to the time you go to bed. When we did this presentation initially, we always used the example of McDonald's, the fast food restaurant. And what was the predominant colors of McDonald's years ago?
Red and
Red
yellow.
and yellow.
Red and yellow.
Why do you think that was?
To attract you, probably.
Not only that, but those colors will stimulate your appetite.
Oh.
So what they wanted to do is they wanted you to come in hungry, they wanted you to come in and grab your food, and they wanted you to get out of there. If you notice, a finer food restaurant will usually have warmer colors of tans and browns because they want you to stay. If you're going to eat a 3 or 4 course meal, they want you to hang around for a little while. So it's very important that they don't put those vibrant colors in a 4-course menu restaurant because you won't want to stay there.
Right.
It's too much energy. It's too busy. All right, come on. Let's go. There we go. Okay, this includes, you're going to have your lights and your decorations, especially in holidays, like October through January. Neon signs that are used in businesses, even fluorescent lights in an office. I don't know if anybody's ever worked in an office that had the fluorescent lights, and the fluorescent lights are very bad for you. And we had a couple of businesses and people that we worked with over the years where we got them to change from the fluorescent lights to the full spectrum lights, and it changed the whole perspective of their. One was an eye doctor's office, and he changed everything over, and his patients weren't in a hurry to get out of the office any longer because they were more relaxed. So it's things like that that can be effective. Is the lighting that you have with you. Oop, I just went by that. So you have all kinds of light. You have your sunlight, you have your full spectrum lights. Things that are positive are daytime exposure to the sun, use of full spectrum lighting in your home and office, and light boxes, prisms, and OT lights. Anybody ever hear about an OT light?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, and quilting.
Well,
it's
yes.
So you can focus in.
And it
better,
also
yeah.
provides, your colors are more true with,
Oh,
with the
okay.
OT lights, or natural sunlight, your colors are. That's why
So-
painters like to paint in a bright sunny room, because then the colors are truer.
Can you explain to me, please, what full spectrum lighting is?
Full spectrum lighting is like the sun. It gives you all the sun colors from all spectrums. And we'll get into that, but you have your color spectrums run from ultraviolet to
Right.
infrared. Okay, the colors of the rainbow?
Yep.
That's your full spectrum lighting
Okay.
and everything in between.
So if you were in an office, how would you know whether it was fluorescent or full spectrum? How could you tell? When you walked into a room, how would you know?
You wouldn't know probably.
Yeah,
But you do know fluorescent lights are usually the long tubular lights or something like that. These are not fluorescent, but they're probably not full spectrum bulbs either. They're just regular light bulbs.
they could be full spectrum now. The LEDs they emit a different kind of light, and the CVCs, that's the fluorescent lights, their light is more gray. It's a different frequency. They also have mercury in it, so if you understand energy, that you're taking in some of that, so it's a thing. If you walked into a room, you can tell if it's full spectrum lighting. It's like walking into a greenhouse that has, with the sunlight in it, all the flowers are vibrant. If you walk into an office, things are more vibrant, and if you sit in it for a long time, artists have them or painters, fashion designers, people who work on computers a lot use the OT lights, and that's just OT light is a specific brand that someone has developed.
Now the reason this particular slide is important is because can anybody tell me what the largest organ is in the human body?
The
The
skin.
skin.
The skin.
Oh, the skin, yeah.
The skin. Why is that so important? The skin is what absorbs the sunlight, and it absorbs it into one of those 8-9 layers of what we have here. In one of those layers is where the sun is turned into what you need to survive. The other intake for your full spectrum light is your iris of your eyes. And you only need 20 minutes a day in sunlight to get your quota for the day. So it's not like you gotta spend the whole time, but like in the wintertime, what happens, we go out, we're covered all the way up, we've got our gloves on, we've got our hats on, and we put our sunglasses on. How are you gonna get your sunlight? Okay, so it's important if you have a nice sunny window. A lot of people will drink their cup of coffee in the morning. As long as you let the sun come into the eyes or get on your hands, your arms and whatnot, 20 minutes is all it takes to get your...
What is the light do when you absorb it?
That turns, it helps to, essentially with your vitamin D and your calcium levels in the body.
But even with 20 minutes a day, you don't get enough vitamin D.
In the winter.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
saying 20 minutes is the minimum that you need to get. The more you get, the better, of course it is. But at least 20 minutes is what they've told us over the years is what you should at least get for that level. Why do you think they've fortified milk over all these years and fortified foods and whatnot? It's because people don't get enough.
But nobody
Turn
drinks
out the
milk
sun.
anymore.
I do.
Very few people drink
I
milk,
do. At least
especially
three-
young people.
At least 3 times a day, every
Yeah,
day.
at least young people. That's why you can always take a vitamin D supplement to do that, but you gotta make sure that it's if you go to the doctors, you get a blood test, you can tell what your vitamin D is, so.
I went to the doctor one time, they did blood work, and I was extremely deficient in vitamin D. And I couldn't understand why, because I live in a park where I walk my dogs every day. I was still very deficient. But there's a lot of things that enter into the deficiency,
Yeah,
if you're stressed or whatever, so,
yeah, 'cause mine was non-existent.
oh my God.
So they gave you super pill. Did you get the super pills?
No, he just told me to take 10,000 milligrams a day, and I
Yeah.
thought that was too much, so
That's
I did
good.
5.
Yeah, well, the thing is you have to build it up, and that's because I got the super pill, so.
Wow. How long did you have to be on those?
It was just a week,
Really?
yeah, and then I was taking the supplement, and I had it tested again, it's fine. But it is stress that causes
Yeah.
depletion.
And of course, with this time of the year, you get a lot of people that have what's called SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, or they also call it the Illumination Deprivation syndrome. Fancy words for you're just not getting enough sunlight. Okay, and it can be a problem if you don't pay attention to it. And that's why people who are staying in the house they'll get what's called the box light, and they put it on a wall, and they'll sit next to that
Oh, yeah.
and get their required light. Okay, and then there are other energies called your vibrational energies, and these are positive vibrational energies. I don't like to talk negative or about negative energies, so we'll talk about the positive stuff. But we already know what the negatives are: cell phones, etc. But you have your vibrational energies of all sorts of things, musical instruments and music. Okay. Okay. Oh, now the next set of pictures, these are going to be visual representations by a fellow by the name of Alex Gray. I don't know if anyone is familiar with him, with Sacred Mirrors Gallery. Used to be in New York City. They're now in Wappinger Schools. You can go online and take a look at all of his artwork. And he's a visionary. He and Allison are visionaries, and you'll see why by some of the pictures that I'm showing. And what we're showing you are the chakras. I don't know if you're familiar with the chakras. They're the body energy fields known as wheels or vortexes. They run from the top of your head to the end of your tailbone. Your body energy meridians and your universal energy pattern, and then your human aura fields and your energy vortexes as they appear to Barbara Ann Brennan. And I don't know if anyone knows who Barbara Ann Brennan is, but when we get to her picture, I'll give you a little more information on her. Now, this is what's called the psychic energy system. And you'll notice the chakras running, the little dots running up the spine, up to the top of the head and down to the tailbone. You also have energy centers in the palms of your hands. Foot and hand reflexology works with those. And also you can sort of see it up by his head, on either side of his head. Years ago we would teach about the 7 chakras, 7 energy centers. There are now people who can see 32, and they're off body. And it's because as you become more sensitive to being able to recognize the frequencies of the colors and what's going on, they seem to be able to see all that stuff. I've never gotten there yet. So this is just called the psychic energy system, just to give you an idea that this goes on in your body all the time. This is your spiritual energy system. And what this is explaining is that your energy flows from Mother Earth. This way, when you say you're grounded and you've got your feet on the ground, you're pulling energy up from Mother Earth. You're bringing it up to Father Sky, and then it comes down and around. It's a never-ending flow.
I was reading an article last week that it's good in the summertime to walk around on your grass or in your bare feet because you're absorbing the energy and it helps you.
Yes,
that's what
exactly.
You're saying.
Yeah, that's what. And this is his way of visualizing it and depicting it out. And I've always enjoyed his pictures. And I carry my chakra guy. I have a framed picture of chakra guy, and he comes with me all the time. This is just a depiction of the universal mind lattice, which just is telling you that energy, vibrational, whatever it is bombarding us from every direction every day. And you really can't get away from it. So what we try to do is try and help you figure out ways to keep it beneficial as possible. You also may be familiar with the fact that we have aura fields around the human body. And really the ones that, all of these can be affected. Your physical body, your etheric body, or your etheric double, which is the one closest to the body. Emotional, astral body, your mental body, your causal body, your spiritual body, and your divine body. These are all aspects of what is going on, how energies can affect it. And if you notice, every one of them has a color representation to it. And I have, again, Barbara Ann Brennan has a quick little thing about how to read auras. I don't know if the library has any Barbara Ann Brennan's materials, but I have ISBN numbers and whatnot, so if anybody wants that information. There's a couple of books that I kind of make mandatory reading if you're gonna hang around with me for a little while. Okay. Come on. Now this is what those chakras that we were talking about that run up down the side, this is how Barbara Ann Brennan visualizes this. Now Barbara Ann Brennan is about 82 years old right now. I think she's still alive. She is a physicist, a NASA physicist. Her technology is in some of these satellites that are still going around the Earth today. So this is a very scientific mind. And what she discovered when working in the labs with all of this energy and the things that they were doing, is she was noticing the energy as it was her workers around her. And she visualized these energy centers, and this is the way she sees them. And how you might see them is altogether different, but this just gives you an idea that these little tornado-looking cones are constantly feeding your energy centers with energy. Okay, now cover light and vibrational energies is a part of the radiation from the sun, is comprised of numerous electromagnetic waves. Color in the form of light is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, refers to the wavelength composition of light with particular reference to its visual appearance, and the average person recognizes color only in the physical sense. People see color as the aspect of an object that depends upon the spectral composition of light reaching the eye's retina. Thus, light is mandatory for the existence of color to the human eye and mind. Guess again. Sir Isaac Newton, everybody knows that name, right? Mm-hmm. Well, back in 1666, did not realize there are also other characteristics that define the power of color. Even in darkness or blindness, people feel colors. And in experiments, vision impaired people have been taught to pick red or green balls from a black bag, thus proving the presence of an energy vibration from color. Now this one says is, how do we sense color? Well, people experience color from memory, what Bill was talking about before. It's what were you taught, what is red to you may not necessarily be red to someone else. In dreams, and from pressure on or electrical stimulation of the eyeball or optic nerve. But the usual stimulus of color is a change in the spectral composition of the radiant energy that is incident, meaning immediately present, to the central part of the retina of the eye. And radiant energy is the energy traveling through space in the form of electromagnetic waves and is defined by its distribution according to wavelength. The effects that radiant energy has on matter also depend greatly on wavelength. As we mentioned before, even blind people are affected by color. They can identify colors through their fingertips. This suggests that color not only affects us visually, but also affects our energy fields, even if our eyes are closed and we are sleeping. And this I can pass this around. This was something, as we just mentioned, that there is this light spectrum that runs from ultraviolet through the visual colors that we can see to the infrared. And each one of them, and I'll pass this around so you can take a look at it, there's a little more information on it, but each color frequency has a wavelength. Or, as you know, you're familiar with tuning forks, aren't you? When you hit the tuning fork, it vibrates at a certain wavelength, and it produces the key on the piano. So one will vibrate at whatever C is, and that makes the C sound. Well, colors have the same thing. They have a frequency and a wavelength attached to them. And this is how they would teach people how to pick out the balls in the bag. Or this is how the color of clothes that you've worn or are wearing are affecting your health, well-being, and your mental status. Have you ever taken out your clothes the night before because you were going to be in a hurry to get dressed in the morning, and then gotten up in the morning and said, what did I pull that out for? I'm not wearing that today. And you best put it back in the closet and go with your new color choice. If you don't, you're going to be very unhappy camper all day long. And I have two examples of how color can be very vital and expressed in a parent situation. We had a PTA, a physical therapist assistant. He used to work at the cerebral palsy unit in Goshen, Mary Lee. And we just happened to be talking about him years back, and we were talking about it, and she was saying that they were having trouble with the kids during physical activity because they had these medicine balls that they worked with. And it always seemed that the kids would be okay before they went into this class, and then they would get all hyper and crazy. And that's the first thing we asked her, says, what color are the medicine balls? She says, red and orange. I said, well, I have a suggestion for you. I says, change those balls out for a light green or a blue and see what happens, and don't let them use the red and the orange ones. They did. The biggest change that came over these kids, and these are cerebral palsy kids. These are not kids who are going to really readily understand what was going on, but just by changing the color of the medicine balls that the kids were exposed to during this athletic exercise period made all the difference in the world. They could control the kids were calmer, they followed direction better, and it was great. They couldn't believe how that simple little thing made such a difference.
Look at the color of hospitals.
A perfect example. I had a lady that I worked with years ago who grew up in Puerto Rico, and she could never understand it, but her mom, for some reason, had a collection of squares of cloth of different colors. And as she got the kids ready to go to school, she would look at the kid, and she'd go over to the pile of the colors of the cloth, and then she would take that piece of cloth and pin it inside their clothes so it touched their skin for the day. She never understood why her mother did that. And so we were talking about it, and I told her, I said, because your mom instinctively knew that you were going to be high energy today and you needed to stay calm. So she would give her a piece of green or light blue swatch of cloth and pin it to her shirt and make sure it was touching the skin, and the kid would go off to school and would be fine. Or maybe the kid was a little lethargic for the day and needed a little more energy, so she would pick a red piece of cloth and put it inside. She never understood why her mother did that. And after she had the conversation with me, she went back to her mother, and her mother verified that's exactly what she did it for.
I wish I knew that when I was teaching.
Yes, you'd be surprised. It all depends on what colors you put in that classroom as to what kind of activity or energy level you're going to get from the kids. So the scientific explanation for color healing, or how colors affect you, is light, sound, heat, magnetism, color, and electrical energies are all different forms of one source of energy. They differ only in the rate of vibration. Visual light and color have a measurable vibration or energy, just like X-rays, radio waves, and TV waves. And each color of the rainbow has its own vibration rate. The vibration or energy of the colors flows through the body, each affecting one of the 7 nerve centers or chakras, which correspond directly to the body's endocrine glands and cause the glands to secrete hormones. Those hormones then affect our different states of bodily functions, consciousness, and personality. So as simple as what color clothes you wear is going to affect how you react and how your body is going to react over the day.
So if people work in an industry where they're required to wear a uniform that is not their choice of color and they have to wear it anyway, does that affect their job performance?
If you're in the business field and you have a uniform to wear, that's only the outer covering. What can you wear underneath that? If you have a big presentation to give on a particular day, and you need the energy and whatnot, and you need the color red, break out the red bra and panties. You don't have to be. It's not the outer shell.
What touches you?
It's what could be touching you. Or if you don't want to do it that way, and you have a black skirt and a red jacket that you can wear, do it that way. Do whatever works to get the effect that you're looking for. Now, if you're out and you're a hyper person to begin with, and you've got a big presentation and you need to bring it down a level so that you can get through the presentation, then you're going to head for the light greens and the light blues. Okay? Because those are your calming colors. That's why they use light green in the hospital rooms. Or white. White is purity, means it's sterile and healing. But the healing colors are your light greens, your light blues. So it's very simple, basic. But you just have to know which, where to go, what to use. Oops. Okay, and just to continue with that, it says each color passing through the different chakras has different qualities and attributes. Disease is nothing more than a disharmony of vibration or energy in one's being that brings on an imbalance in glandular function or in the functioning of the mind. Meditation, positive affirmations, and color therapy can help change the vibration and reprogram the subconscious and conscious minds to re-establish balance in the body, mind, and spirit. And we're not diagnosing or telling you treatments or anything like that. If you have any questions on this, you can see a certified professional. So we're not telling you just by doing that a certain thing it might solve your problem. It might, but you don't want to. I can't treat you or
You can't
prescribe.
diagnose, prescribe.
Yeah, I don't have the right initials after my name. I have lots of initials after my name, but I don't have the right ones for that. So then you have this is your electromagnetic spectrum. You have your cosmic rays, your gamma rays, your X-rays, ultraviolet. Then your visual light is your violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. And then you have your infrared, like those space heaters that you see that light up with the bright orange color, I think it is. Those are your infrared. Microwaves, Hertzian waves, TV and radio, and long electrical oscillations. That's your power, your electrical power. Okay. Now, and when you get into, if you really get into colors, like people in photography and the printers, the color printers and things like that, there are primary colors. You probably remember this from school. You have primary colors, you have secondary colors, and you have tertiary colors. It all falls into that spectrum. And in color therapy, if you look into the early days of color healing, the person would have a light source of some kind, and they would have a whole gamut of what we call films of all different colors, and they may have 200 of them. And a red in their book, and I didn't bring the book with me because, again, time factor here, but the spectrum in the color red is variable as well. So within the red color, they may have variations of a darker red, a lighter red, into the pinks or something like that. And just a simple few oscillations of the frequency in that color would be used to do the healing process. And basically what it says is he took the color film that he was looking at, and wherever the spot on your body was that he was working on, he would concentrate that light through that color film and work on solving the problem. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, if you remember, it's like a stage light. If you go into a play or something, and they would take that little film and put it in front of the light, and would change the light, the light spectrum.
All right, now this is where there's more information on these particular slides than we can cover in this particular class. But just to start you out with, and just get your juices thinking about this, and then you can jump online and go further with this stuff. Looking at your first chakra, which is at the end of your tailbone, which is related to the color of red. It's called the root chakra, or the coccyx chakra. And just to give you an idea, the glands and organs that are associated with that chakra and that color are the adrenals, kidney, bladder, colon, gonads, legs, spinal column, bones, circulatory system, and reproductive systems. So that color represents potentials to affect those parts of the body. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody understands. The function of that energy center is it deals with issues about surviving on the planet in a physical body. We always say if your root chakra is well grounded to the earth, and most of us live in the bottom three chakras anyway in this world, because we're very materialistic and ego-driven and those kinds of things. But just to let you know that if you're having issues with surviving on the planet in the physical body, a practitioner who is skilled in this kind of thing, or after you've done a little research and you've looked at it, you would be able to figure out what you could do to help yourself, perhaps using color as a way of adjusting things for you. I have interesting things at home. I have a set of color eyeglasses. You know the phrase of looking through the world through rose-colored glasses? It just means it's simply that if you're working on a particular part of the body and you want to help it along a little bit, then maybe 20 minutes with these glasses of a certain color on and in a meditation might be helpful in helping you resolve the problem. You can use crystals, you can use just cloth, color of the cloth, anything with the color you can use however you want to do that might work best for you. Okay? Now, we talk about the root chakra and the color of red being, it's an earthy. It's a ruby is the crystal that you could use. It's the middle C on the piano, the vibration of middle C. Okay. Sandalwood is the herb. Red raspberry leaf is also good. And proteins, not meat or dairy. Red fruits and veggies are complementary color. Your complementary color is sky blue or turquoise, and that means the opposite color to on the spectrum. Okay. And lessons or attributes is it's matters relating to the material world: success, stability, grounding, individuality, security, and courage. So all of these things, what we're saying is that all of these things have to be considered when you're working on yourself to try and straighten yourself out. If you have issues of not feeling grounded on the earth, the best thing is to walk around without your shoes on, like you said earlier, making sure that. But it also might mean to use the color red more. Red clothes, red picture on the wall where you're always looking at it. There's a variety of things that you can use and ways to adjust things. But I basically just want you to get an idea of why colors and the vibrational rate is important. If you go to the second chakra, which is the orange chakra, which is actually your belly button, navel, spleen, sacral, 2 inches below the navel. The glands and the organs that are representative here are the reproductive system, urinary elimination, prostate, spleen, large intestines, and muscles, and the muscular system. Okay, so those are the things that are affected. The function is it relates to issues of sexuality and emotions, physical force and vitality. And this is a water element, carnelian, key of D on the piano. Again, that's the vibrational rate. Color orange, wood betony. I don't remember what that is. And liquids are your orange fruits and veggies, and then your complementary color is indigo blue. And the lessons and attributes is giving and receiving emotions, change, tolerance, and optimism. Okay, any questions so far? Do you understand what we're driving at here? Everybody understand what we're driving at? Okay. We'll go one more. Well, we'll go through the rest of them. The third chakra is the color yellow. That's the solar plexus, which is just above the navel. That's right here. And that takes care of the pancreas, the gallbladder, the stomach, small intestines, liver, kidneys, nervous system, digestive processes, muscles, gallbladder, metabolism, emotions, and adrenals. Wow, that's a big one. That takes an awful lot in, right? What can anybody tell me what the most sought after over-the-counter medicine is in our society?
Aspirin?
No.
Zantac?
Gastrointestinal issues, because of the life that we live on this earth, everybody's got gastrointestinal issues, and that's the biggest over-the-counter drug that we purchase today. So if more people would think about what they could do to alleviate those situations, the less antacids you would need. It is also interesting that if you see somebody walking around like this, and you see a lot of people walking around with their arms across, young people will do it a lot too. And what they're doing is they're protecting that particular area. Because it's the seat of personal power in your body. And you don't want anybody to take that away from you. So anybody who's concerned about that issue is going to be walking around like this a lot because they're protecting that. And what is, they don't have the self-confidence to know that they're powerful the way they are. They don't have to worry about it. But it might be a situation an unresolved situation that needs to be taken care of, which is what it says there. Unresolved situations, issues create stress here in that center. It's a fire element. Citrine, the key of E. Grapefruit, marshmallow root, starches, yellow fruits and veggies. The complementary color is purple or violet. And lessons is will, personal power, mental power, self-control, mastery of desire. So again, if you're working with issues in these particular areas, then you would want to work with the color associated with that. And you can do it in a number of ways. It could be the food that you eat, the herbs that you like, music that you like to listen to. There's this Mozart. Have everybody heard of the Mozart? And the reason why that came about is because, and why you like certain music and why you don't like other music is because music is frequency, it's vibrational rate. The Mozart thing came about because they found that with the key that Mozart wrote a lot of his music in is very good for learning and for educational purposes and for keeping you calm. And that's why that came about, because they found that playing Mozart music in the background helped with the abilities of the people that were listening to it. And that's why you like certain music, that you don't like certain music, and you don't like certain music, but you like other music. It's because it's the frequency of the key that the music is written in. So if you find one that you really like, I had a lady that I used to work with, and she had a long drive from the commute to work. And she killed me. She has this, it's a small world, Disney, it's a small world. She would leave the office fully wired from the day. She would get her in her car, she would put that song on, and she would drive home. By the time she got home, she was perfectly calm.
Because it's very uplifting, it's a small world, yeah.
And it was a key of the music that it just worked for her. It just worked for her. And so we will tell people, if you find a piece of music that you really like, and you have a stressful drive ahead of you or something, throw that sucker in the CD player, and you'll just notice the difference that it makes. And we all know that. It's like Christmas music is so comforting to everybody, most everybody. You know, because it relates to a beautiful time of the year, you know, where your thoughts and emotions are on family, friends, and good things. And that's just the frequency of the music that does that. It's simple, it's basic. Okay, we'll just go through the last couple here. The green one, which is your heart chakra, which is the center of the chest. Of course, that takes care of your heart, your thymus, your arms, your hands, your circulatory system, your lungs, your breasts, and your diaphragm. And the function is, this is place for integration of upper and lower chakra energies. It's an area for a person's soul to shine through. It's a center of love and harmony. It's also green color is a healing color too. So if you've got has anybody ever done an aura picture? No one ever done an aura picture before? If you have, depending on what shows up in your aura picture, you can kind of, the person doing the aura pictures can kind of read what's happening. Bill does this on Sundays over at the Crystal Center. He can do an aura picture for you. Not until April now, they're closed until then. But using the tools at hand, there's an aura picture of Bill. This is a few years ago.
It's not the same now.
His is entirely different now. His is entirely different.
Why?
Because I've learned a lot of magical things. Yeah, it's more violet, white. Some people are connected to the earth a lot. Some people are connected up above. And when I get over there, I walk in, I go to a place where it's not not now. So if I do a reading or anything,
This is him again.
Yeah.
In an altogether different state of mind.
I can,
Okay.
you know, I do readings, I do aura readings, and but when I'm doing them, I'm in a different place. When a person walks out of the room and goes upstairs, I go upstairs. I don't recognize them. All I recognize is maybe the clothes, because I see a whole different you when I do a reading or things going on.
This was
Just
one
practice.
that was done of me, and the significant one about this one is the green that's around here. I was in a mode of self-healing at the time, and I was demonstrating that because my aura was giving off the color of the green in the heart.
Now, are
Chakra.
these photographs? What are they?
Yeah, it's an electromagnetic. You put your hand on a sensor, and it takes a picture, and then what happens is the interpretation of the colors.
The energy given
It shows the energies that are there. You practice and you can read, you can see energies. Again, it's all how much you want to know, and how much you want to know about your body, and how much you want to know about the colors and what you can do. We were this whole thing about wellness, and that's what it's all about. How to make you understand what wellness is. Right now we ascribe everything to the doctor. The doctor is God. There is no doctors in Pine Bush. You have to go to Middletown to go to a health center. And that doctor is like a plumber now, because he is part of an organization that gets paid. He is signed up with that organization. He has no choice on the people that he sees. They all come from the system. So things are a little different now than they were, you know, when you were younger. So
you're basically saying that through colors you can almost heal yourself if
Yeah.
you know what you're doing.
well, it's not knowing what you're doing, how you feel. You know, how do you want to feel? Sometimes we could have an ailment, and that ailment is not that bad anymore because we've learned to adjust our lifestyle for it and adjust things that happen. It's like having arthritis. Very hard to get rid of, but you can mitigate the pains and the things that are happening if you understand your body. And your body is different than everybody else. You have your own world, your own universe you live in. And sometimes it's just like a little shell around you. Other times it's in the whole room, so you're exposed to all the things that are going on. So you just have to moderate what you do, that's all. And that's what color's all about. That's what she's saying, that the colors are, you know.
And you have favorite colors. I know I have a favorite color. As older I got, purple became one of my favorite colors. But a lot of that had to do with the fact is as I was growing through learning all of my modalities and my training and my certifications and whatnot, I myself was opening up. Anybody who can read chakras and whatnot will tell most everybody that we live in the bottom three, which are the physical chakras. The heart chakra is the one that has to keep them in balance. And your top three chakras are your intuition and your spiritual and your connection to the universe and to whoever your belief, God, whatever it is. And we live in the bottom three. We're materialistic. We have to have this. We have to have money. We've got to have cars. We've got to have houses. And so that's why we have a lot of the majority of the problems physically are based in those three chakras. Okay? Now you come along to the heart chakra, and that's the one that's for balance and for healing. And it's got to try and balance between your spiritual connection and your physical connection. Okay? So now we go past into the fifth chakra, which is the throat area here. And that affects the throat, thyroid, thymus, parathyroid, hypothalamus, mouth, respiratory system, and the heart. The function of this chakra is for truthful communication, creative expression through sound. Years ago, I used to have a lot of trouble. I used to get infections, upper respiratory infections that would start in the throat and go into the ears. They never went down into the chest. They all stayed up in here. And we were trying to figure out why I was so prone to them. And it was during a time when I was shutting myself down with communicating. I wasn't teaching. I wasn't doing those kinds of things where I was able to express myself. So I screwed up the chakra so bad, I just kept getting these infections in it. As soon as I started going out and opening up and started to be speak my piece and do my teaching and talk to people and whatnot, I haven't had a problem in years. And it's all just because of the imbalance in the body that affected that chakra. Once I took care of the emotional problem that was disturbing me, I more or less rectified the situation. But until I recognized it, I didn't know what was going on. I just thought I had poor health and it was always in my throat, my ears. So your function is truthful communications, creative expression through sound. I was a singer years ago. I grew up I was a classically trained singer and whatnot. And when I stopped doing that as well, it shut me right down. And once I got past that was fine. It's an ether element. It's color turquoise, key of G, blueberries, red clover blossoms, blue purple fruits and veggies, and your complementary color is red. Lessons and attributes is power of the spoken word, true communication, creative expression in speech, writing, and the arts. I'm a Libra. I'm supposed to be in the arts, and I'm supposed to be able to create and express myself through art and whatnot. I never did find that part of it, but I must have found enough of it to take care of what was ailing me. So, okay, so then we got about just 5 minutes left here. The seventh chakra, which is the crown. Oh, we passed the third eye. Chakra. The sixth chakra is indigo, violet, blue, and it says your third eye right here. Okay, and it's this takes care of your pituitary gland, your left eye, ears, nose, face, sinus, autonomic nervous system. This is the center for intuition and clairvoyant perception of creative visualization and gathers instruction from your higher self. Again, now we're getting into the spiritual aspects. Light is the element, lapis lazuli. I guess that's a crystal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a blue stone.
Okay, and then the key of A, lotus, eyebright. Those are probably herbs, plants. Blue, purple, fruits and veggies, and your complementary color is orange. And the lesson is soul realization, intuition, devotion, wisdom, joy, self-awareness, imagination, and insight. Okay? I haven't left anybody too far behind, have I?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. And your crown chakra, which is the top of your head, which is violet or magenta into white, is the top of your head, and it takes care of your pineal gland, cerebral cortex, central nervous system, right eye, brain synchronization. The function is to vitalizes upper brain, nervous system, and entire skeletal system, center of spirituality, and connects you to an infinite intelligence. It's another reason if you start to wear a lot of purple, you might be in a state of doing meditation or exploring your spirituality, religion, or something like that. So you might notice yourself wearing a certain color. It's just things that you have to be observant about. Or you could wear the color purple to help you with gaining aspects into that realm. If you want to become more spiritual and whatnot, if you wear purple and maybe you do meditation and stuff like that, the purple will raise your vibration level to that level that you want to get to. Let's see. The center of thought and will, amethyst, key of B, violet, lavender flowers, purple. Everything purple. Fasting, purple fruits and veggies. Your complementary color is yellow. And the lesson is the unification of the higher self with the human personality. Inspiration, unity, divine wisdom, and understanding, and opens the soul to the light. Okay, now I'm going to hop through some quick stuff here. Just know, like when we're talking about the vibrational energies and the colors and whatnot, most of the chakras have a specific connection to the spine. And what we always used to say is people always feel better when, depends on what kind of chiropractor you might go to see. If you go to a bone cracker, I'm not quite sure that he does this kind of thing. But a soft touch or a network chiropractor knows about this situation. And when they get finished working with you, what they end up doing is opening up the channels within the spine and allows the energy to move more freely. And so a lot of times that's why people feel a lot better after the treatment with the chiropractor, because he's opened up those channels, so that the energy coming in now is circulating better through the body, and it's taking care of things. Yep. I don't know if you can read what that says, but all this is telling you is that the related organs and the problem, that might be a problem area associated with the chakras and the location on the spine. So if a person has a lot of spinal issues and it's blocking the energy, you know, like he's got a problem, he's got cement in 2 of his vertebrae. He fractured them, compressed them, so he had that procedure done where they uncompress them and put the cement in, right? So he right now has a blockage of how his energy is going through his spinal column. So he has issues with his back a lot.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
reroute the
So
energy.
you
And
gotta,
you can do that if you learn your body. That's the whole thing. And the other thing is, with this, the chakras, if you have an acupuncturist, they can also reroute the energy and open up
the
things.
channels.
So
Open up the channels.
there's quite a few very good acupuncturists in the area.
All right, we're at 1:30. I don't know if we want to cut things off or whatever. But basically, your basics of to what we're saying is in Color Me Happy is when you learn what colors your body likes better, either by eating something or drinking something or listening to music or the colors that you wear. Once you instinctively learn that and you pay attention to that, then you know how to adjust things. It's like there's 2 versions of people who like to sleep under red sheets on a bed. The first one is, of course, if you want your sex life to be really good, you might want to do red sheets.
Wait, does anybody other than you 2 have a partner here? You're looking at a bunch of single people.
What can I tell you? This is just an example. Now, if you have a problem going to sleep when you get into bed, then if you are into colored sheets, which a lot of people are, then you would want to try to get your light greens, your light blues colors, or a pink is okay. Very light pink is okay as well. But I mean, it's just crazy little things like that. That if you are aware of it and you know that hey, that might be just the color of curtains that you have hanging on your windows might be driving you absolutely crazy. And until you figure that out and change the curtains, you're going to be crazy for a long time. So it's basically, that's what we're saying, is you learn by studying the colors and how they affect you, that help to make you feel happy and make you feel better. And that's where we come at, even though there's a lot of information here, that's simply what Color Me Happy is all about.